McMullen here. I'm going to talk about the design, the layout, the intro animation, the PHP templating system, and the contact page and its functionality. Um, I designed the layout and the look and feel of the website. I went for a sort of flat design. So I'll just show you the contact page. We sort of kept it the same throughout to keep it consistent. It's just a separate area for the contact page itself. In regards to the intro animation, when you visit the home page, it'll automatically play, which as you can see, the devices just pop in and slide in. Obviously, each time you visit the home page, you don't necessarily want the user to have to go through the animation over and over and over. So I've implemented a little button here, an on-off button. Essentially what this does, it creates and deletes a cookie as the user presses it. So if I just look at the cookies now, we have none set. So if I click the button, it turns it to off, and now we can see we have a cookie set called intro animation with the value of Evo, and the expiration date is 1 year from today. So now when we visit the home page, the animation doesn't play. So essentially this is just a skip button for the animation, so we can visit our other pages, return to the home page, and it doesn't play. Clicking the button again just removes the cookie and refreshes the page. So the animation will now play, and if we look at our cookie settings again, we can see that the cookie has now been removed. So just to give you a little bit of an idea of what's happening in regards to the intro animation, I've created the classes for each of the individual elements that's animated on the screen. So I've just created a little comment here just to let you know that the animation is actually being applied via jQuery using CSS3. So jQuery, I'm using jQuery essentially to inject the different CSS into the relevant classes and IDs. I'm also using the keyframes, which when jQuery injects the CSS, the keyframes will then come into action as they're needed. So we just go over to the jQuery file. I'm essentially checking here if the cookie is set. If it's not set, in this case, it will target the CSS IDs and classes that I've just shown, and it will inject the appropriate CSS, which is also browser compatible. So basically, if the cookie is not set, it will inject all the CSS and it will animate. And I'm setting the cookie, this is the on switch, so when I click the on switch, it basically sets the cookie and reloads the page. If I click the off switch, it will remove the cookie and reload the page. And if the cookie is set, what I'm basically doing is I'm hiding the main overlay screen, so the big green screen that you see when the animation starts, and I'm also toggling the HTML. So I'm basically changing the image of the on switch to the off switch, and vice versa, depending on which button is being displayed. I've also created a PHP template system. I much prefer this over Dreamweaver's template system, although this is a fairly basic example. You can do a lot more with this within PHP. But I've just created several functions. One to display the logo, the navigation bar, the footer, and to display the viewport within the head section. So this can be changed via these functions throughout the whole website on every page just by editing this single file. So if a website was much larger, this would mean that we could change stuff relatively quickly. So if I go over to the index page, to use this template system, I've opened and closed PHP in the head section of the document. I've included the functions file within the includes file in the root directory. So that gives me access to the functions so I can use them. So I called the viewport function in an open and closed PHP tag within the tag, and that basically returns the variable view, which has this section of HTML. So I've basically done that with all the other functions. I've called the logo where I needed to, I called the navigation where I needed to, and I've also called the footer. So what I've basically done is I've called all these functions throughout each of the pages, so it'll display the same information across all pages, and it can basically be changed on every page within this file. And finally, I've created a contact page. It has two options. I'm using jQuery to animate the content area. So when you press the button, it'll take you to a map. In this case, I've just added Dundalk Institute of Technology as an example in this case. But you can also flick over and back from an actual contact form. I've done some basic validation via jQuery, so if there's no fields filled in, it gives you a little message when you go to submit it. If there's some fields filled in, it'll still give you that error message. But if all fields are filled in, then it gives you messages sent successfully. And of course the clear button clears the whole contact form. So that's basically it. The products page and about page are being populated by Jen and Sean, so they'll both discuss each of the relevant pages in their own screencasts.